All right. Hello again. I'm back. Man, now I don't know when I'm posting this, but this is the third time I've painted this week. That's a new record for me since I started painting. Well, maybe since the last couple of years at least, let's say that. All right. Excuse me. I've got another black canvas up here. Apparently I'm in a black canvas phase. And all I did, there's no medium. I took some viridian green and I put over the whole thing. And you can see it on there when I move that brush around. It's a pretty good coat. Whenever you coat these black canvases and it says a little bit of paint, a little bit of paint doesn't mean like a faint bit of paint. It means if I push on that, I'm going to be able to get some back on my finger. Okay? If you don't have much paint on there and you need a little bit of paint to do this, what's going to happen is if you put too little bit of paint, you're going to have a very chalky looking color, because what we're going to do here is let's take a 1-inch brush here. Little 1-inch brush. Again, that's another one we've reviewed this year and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to grab some white. Another white canvas, or another black canvas with white paint all over it, right? And we're going to put a good bit, but we don't need a ton. I'm going to start a little bit, so if that's this eyeball and it looks like about the midpoint is right there, I want to kind of think about, oh, there we go. Yep, some light right back in here, and I'm not really worried about values in here at this point. I'm just worried about getting some color back here, because we're going to have all kinds of stuff in front of this. This is just kind of the background color. This is off a photo also. Apparently all I needed was to find some photos I wanted to paint. And I'll change it a little bit. Again, don't know the photographer, or I'd give credit for sure, but just kind of going to change it enough that we'll make it ours. But the colors is what I was drawn to. It's got greens and yellows in it, so a little weird. I mean, weird for me. Not weird. Shouldn't say that. Alright, so that's about enough for up there. Now what I do, want to work some of this on out. And we'll just kind of think a little bit. I'm not going to put any more paint. I just want a little bit worked out from the center. And I really, right in here is the brightest spot. And I'll probably even brighten that up just a little bit more. But I'm just taking that brush around the canvas. And if somebody will remind me here in a minute, once I get this color on, I can turn that other lamp on and we'll actually be able to see a little bit. It cuts down on the glare. It really helped on that one I did previously. There's something about like that. Just kind of spooky looking, right? And again, this is viridian green. You can use phthalo green. Viridian is transparent. So you can use that. And it's very similar color. It's not the same, but it's pretty dang close to what you're going to get with phthalo green. Alright, it's actually very pretty that way. Alright, let's see. I want a little bit more of a glow right in there, so I'm going to get some more white. I don't need to really worry about too much more anywhere else, but right in this center part. I'm not trying to make an exact shape here, so a little bit stretches up, a little bit more up in here will be fine. Just throw a little bit over here. We'll use a big brush and knock that down. We can use the same old brush we've been using. Still got some green on it and might kind of tone things down for us. Now I think that's going to be bright enough. I'm kind of looking at what I want to do here. Yeah, that should work fine. So I'm a little bit, I'll let it creep right here. About right there is where I want to cut the land. So right there. So a little bit above the halfway point of the canvas. I guess we should really try to do it in thirds, right? The rule of thirds, but we'll just do the rule of a little bit less or a little bit more than half tonight. Alright. So, there is a lot of script liner work on this painting. So this video may be longer than I wish it was. But you guys, at this point, can skip through it. You can always speed these things up and get to the pertinent parts. Usually the beginning and the end, right? That way you don't have to listen to me ramble. I'm going to take a little bit, and I'll show you on my knife. I'm going to take a little bit of that viridian, and I'm going to grab a little bit of, I've got a little bit of ivory black, so not like that, and just kind of mix those two together, make that a little bit darker. There we go, and that'll be my pile for, well shoot, for my paint thinner, so we don't get paint thinner in our paint we may need later. Always kind of separates you a little bit out. It's easier to do it that way, I think. That's my opinion. Feel free to make it your own. Got my handy dandy little script liner here, the long-haired one. And I want some trees back in here. And we may make some of these thicker. We'll make some of them really thin. Make this one, since it's kind of prominent, almost right in the middle of the canvas, we'll make this one a little bit thicker. We'll just kind of add a little paint to it. Give it a little wiggle and jiggle. You can see that little script liner kind of dragging up through there. I hate to say that, but it's kind of what you're doing with it. Oh yeah, we need a few little things off of here. These are in the background, so they're not going to have tons of detail here. This is similar. It's going to look similar starting out, especially until we get past some of this detailed work of one I did before with phthalo green and and black, I think it was. All right. Paused it and went and got an iPad so I could look at this photo and just kind of get some ideas off of it. I don't like that branch. I'm just going to change it. Really, what we just need to kind of replicate this background that I love is just some sticks back in here. I don't really know that they have to be detailed. Now this looks like it's going to be a night scene. We're going to turn this into daytime here in a little bit. Let's just get rid of some of this. There we go. Oh no, I know, making straight lines here. Crazy. Paint's not wanting to flow tonight. Apparently got the paint thicker out, not the paint thinner. Bad jokes are free. There we go. Just some indications of some stuff happening back in there. Doesn't really matter too much. Too much. Yeah. Get a couple back in there. Maybe this one's a little more detailed. Today is the 14th of December. We are 10 days away from Christmas Eve. And I am 1 day away from having my grades in. I teach business law. I think some of you guys probably know that. I teach business law for the local college. And I'm happy. I enjoy doing it. I'm happy to be done with the grading. I don't have too much to do, really. Something like that, I want it to look like some of those are really far back in there. And again, pretty much just straight lines. This one, the bottom is really bothering me. But see how it's getting a little chunky? I'll fix that later. I'm not really worried about it right now. And what we could do is work with a bigger brush here in just a second. Yeah, just some. I know this is not making any sense, just making these straight lines. If you want to, you can take the brush without hardly any paint and just, oh, you don't want that. Throw some little things back in there that maybe could be branches off of these straight lines. Intersecting little things. But really, some of these just ghostly looking shapes on the canvas that you may not be able to see on the video actually look pretty good just running through the paint. We're not worried about detail at this point. We're going to cover up most of these anyway. I think that's gonna work. I think that's gonna work pretty good. Pretty good. Now I'm gonna grab a, I'm gonna try a brush. I'm gonna try a dagger brush. Now this is not a great dagger to try for oil paint. It's kind of soft. So it may not work the way I want it to, but I'm gonna try it just to try her out. It's fun to try new brushes sometimes. I can use that same mixture, green and black. And I want some, this one's great for doing this with. I want some darker. Oh yeah. I didn't really mean to do that. Sometimes I forget what I'm doing. This is kind of a nice brush. I wish I'd used this before. Can make some little things back in here, cutting through the paint pretty much. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. That will work. There's another one right there. I'll just thin it a little bit. I thought about doing this one starting out with acrylic, you know, using like grays and blacks. And I wanted to try it this way first. And see what happens. It may not look the way I want it to. It's just a bunch of little big old guys in here. Big trunks. We'll put some color in here, so stick around. We will get something going on here in a minute. Now one thing I've got an advantage of not using any medium under there. I don't have to worry. So like if you were using like a liquid clear, you'd have to be worried about the paint that are in here causing that reaction, that chemical reaction that it can. I'm just gonna put the brush down and just make a little hill here. Kind of move that paint up a little bit. So yeah, that's another reason to sometimes not use medium. And one of the best things about not using medium, especially on a mountain or a scene that you're trying to keep from getting muddy, is you don't have to worry about that. It's just not going to be a concern here as much. Now I can get this very muddy, of course. Just blocking in a little dark behind or in front of that light and in front of these trees actually. And I don't need much paint to do this. Barely any paint on the brush because there's dark paint on the canvas. Why do I need to keep stocking paint on it? I'm just kind of right now almost sketching a little bit. Almost. I got another little hill over here, it kind of looks like. There we go. Some of these I want to be very ghostly. I can just scrub that paint in. Almost. And then I can make some little shapes. Or just let the paint kind of go up and down. It'll bounce off that line, I think. I think you can see that a little bit. Makes that glow even nicer. Again, see, I'm way above halfway now. with the detail. Alright, what else do I want to do here? Yeah, let's try this. I haven't used this brush, so I'm going to try this one. There's my old filbert that I need to put to work. It's being lazy here. Oh yeah, right in there. Big tree. Big tree, big guy. And then maybe there's, even let's just fill in this side of that canvas there. I don't care how far it goes down, we can cut them off. Not a big deal. And maybe we can sneak one more in here, you think? Ooh, a little crook on that one. I want to be able to see through that just a little bit, but not much. It's very dark on this side of the canvas. I know those are very straight. Mom would always tell us to not make our trees so straight because they'd cut them down for telephone poles, right? Well, sorry. These may be, when they come through this forest, they may get rid of all of these. I like this one a little bit fatter. Yeah, I like this filbert. I like the filbert better than the other one I was using. The dagger brush. The dagger brush is great. I think I like the filbert better. There. Yeah, kind of odd. Now we can throw, before we move on, like I said, this is going to be a longer painting than I would like for these videos. So just go get you a sandwich, come back. I'll still be running my mouth and running my brushes probably. So I just want a little bit of detail on these. Don't need a ton of branches. Don't really need much of anything. I'll probably sock a little bit of foliage on this side too. We could use a little bit. Just a couple little guys off there. Ooh. There we go. There. Okay. Well, that's probably good enough for that. All right. Let's see. What else do we want to do back in here? All right. One thing I can do is start working on. Which brush? I'll use this one. A round brush would have been nice, but I'm just going to use an old 1-inch. Take some of that green, some of that black, and we're just going to fill a little bit of foliage back in on this one side. And keep those colors, keep the colors going back between the green and the black, so you're not just using the viridian, or you're not just using the black. I know sometimes you're like, that probably doesn't make a difference, and maybe it doesn't sometimes, but it will. It matters more on a white canvas, really, because you don't see it too much here. There's a little dark down in here. Yeah, and I'm really not worried about what this looks like right now. As you can see, it looks pretty bad. I'm just closing that side of the canvas off a little bit. Getting pretty dark. But we're drawing our eye right into that bright spot there, and that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what I'm going to tell you guys, at least. That's what I'm going to tell you. I don't know that I'll see that, but I'm going to put that in there anyway. And again, this is where, if you see a photo, it's always, ask permission if you're trying to paint off of it. But this is where it starts getting, it's not going to look like a photo. I'm going to start using my artistic license here. Kind of like a painting. If you paint someone's painting and it looks pretty much the same, give them a shout out. If it looks completely different, you're probably fine. As I can tell you, it's not going to look anything like what I've got here. Alright, so I got all those things in the background. I want to do something crazy here. I'm going to take a 1-inch brush now. And it's the 1-inch brush I put the white on the canvas with. I'm going to take a little bit of that green. Yeah, I got a little black in it. A little black, I want the green. There we go. I want it to stay pretty nice and pretty. Pretty. Alright, here we go. Let's just think about, there's a little bit of, that's too white. Too white, Bram. This may be too green, but I'd rather be a little more green than to be too white. There we go. That should be okay. I'll leave that one because it's fun. There's nothing wrong with it. Just some foliage back in here, some light colored stuff to indicate some distance. Depth and distance. It's important in a painting. We could even, this may be where, yeah, That's where that's going to help me, and it may help you guys to be able to see it a little bit better. Maybe. May help me. Turn it on now. I can't see. I want just like a little bit on that guy back in here. Yeah. Can always just put a little bit here. I'm not trying to fill up every little spot back in here. I don't mean to tease you here, but I'm going to have to turn that off because I cannot see too well with that right now. Okay. There we go. That's almost too white. I would recommend almost using pure green with just a speck of white. But I'm going to leave it. Try to get away with it. I'm going to try to get away with it. I may not. So again, I'm going to lay out this land just a little bit. I'll use that dagger brush. In here, these trees are up on like a hill. Over here. You can imagine maybe there's a little bit of water in here. We'll add to the painting as we want. I'm just messing around, really. Hope it turns out. Again, you know the rule. If I like it, you'll see it. If I hate it, you won't. That's just how it works. I'm going to take a little bit of white into my green I've been using for the trees. Make a grayish color here and put, maybe a little bit more white. There we go. I want to be able to see this. See some of these trunks back in here now. Oh, a little too thick at the bottom. I'll knock that off. You get too thick like that, you know what to do, but I'll show you. Knock it back in. Now you got to be careful here because it's paint thinner. Can't keep doing that or you're going to get a real big mess. Maybe there's a couple right here. Maybe I should do this one. Maybe these are sycamores. I think that's what it is. There's a nice white bark on them once they grow up tall. They're pretty trees. They grow around the rivers and streams here a lot. Yeah, we've gone off the rails. This is not going to look like anything like the paint photo, but that's okay. It does not need to. Because we're going to start putting some crazy colors in here and seeing what happens. I'm going to bring these darker here in a minute. You're going to be crazy. You're going to be like, you messed it up, and I may have. Alright, is that going to look right with that green? Yeah, I think so. Maybe a touch of white in it. So I have a color called cadmium yellow. This is literally not the, let me show you here. Cadmium yellow hue. It's not medium, it's not light. This is and again, it's not real cadmium, which is good. So that's the color I'm using. So it's a little orangey. It's a little odd color, to be honest. It's one that I don't typically use. I'm actually going to kind of put a little bit back in there. That will look better than that white on those trees. Just kind of go over it if we can. We're not really set in stone here. It's our world, so. Oh, maybe this one. My brush is goofed up already like that. Yeah, it's kind of funky looking. So I'm going to switch brushes here on you. Like to clean one. Clean it in my bucket. Wipe it off. And dry it off on my trusty Christmas rag here. It's going to stink now. Alright, that's good. That's what I want right there. Tell you about this brush just in a second. This is a cheap brush. This is a... Oh, it's not in here. a Worcester. I think they're called Yachtsman's, maybe. Can't remember exactly the name of the kind of brush it is, but it works really well for bushes and tree foliage and things like this. You may want to grab you one of these. Now we're going to cover up a lot of this, so it's mainly in the background. So there, see, it's much nicer looking brush. Got a little, I think where I packed them one time, they got a little out of shape. To work on getting it back in shape. There we go. That's much nicer than that whitish color. Another. So let's just I don't mind the white ones being there, but let's change some of these into this yellow. Again, cad yellow hue is what I'm using. Could probably get away with something else, but if you're trying to paint this one, you might need a tube of that. And it's a cool color to have around, I think. You're not going to use a ton of it. You probably get away with a small tube. A little bit back in there. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Maybe there's a touch back in there. Like I said, this works with the green really well. It looks like on camera. Looks kind of odd on camera. There we go. Boy, it's glowing. Whoa! I think you might say. Alright, I had to figure out how to make the iPad stay on. Not that it matters, I've already, like I said, this doesn't look anything like the photo, and that's probably good. Probably good. I want a little bit of this just kind of peeking in a few spots here very randomly. You're going to see why. Alright, we'll take our filbert, green, black. I'm going to push these back behind all this. Oh. Back over it one more time there. There we go, get it a little darker. Just show that foliage in the background instead of it being right in the foreground. I don't care where they stop, we'll fix that. Not a big deal. I really want these trees to be big right in here. I'll let one of the trees come on down a little bit further, maybe. Oh, that's a whopper. That is a whopper. I want to knock the color behind these trees. Like that look. Probably don't need to see much over here. Something like that will work, I think. Let's grab one more here. You just kind of go over them like this. You don't really even have to have full trees. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. Find a script liner real quick. Go back to our dark color. What I said about this one, I wanted to get rid of that bottom of it. Just gonna kind of tap around in here and just kind of diffuse this area with a little bit of that paint. I want that to be very misty. That looks pretty good. I'm going to actually take this brush that has that lighter cost too much paint. Let's wipe it off. There's hardly any paint on here, but it's the brush I use that has the white. And I want to make a little bit of mist and fog back in there before we move on. This is a long painting. Mostly because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So if you have an idea of what you're doing, well, we're going to go a little quicker. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay. Can knock some of that color down right in there even. Some of this. Just the bottoms of that yellow in those trees. There we go. Maybe go up a little bit higher. Grab a little bit of it. Uh-oh. Thing doesn't usually shed. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm liking that look. Well, I like it at the end is another story. Yep. I like how they diffuse some of that. That's an old Worcester. Sometimes that Worcester brush, or I think it's Worcester, that I told you about, it sheds. That's what I'm picking up. Knock this down a little bit. Diffusing, diffusing. You gotta be careful here. You can overdo this, and I'm about to that point to where it's gonna look muddy. So we'll probably just leave most of this up here. I wish that I had started with this color, not the white. But that's okay. It doesn't look horrible. I like this down in here though. Alright, now we'll put some more trees in. More tree trunks, I guess. Oh, we need Right, here's one. Coming down. You load up this brush pretty thick and you don't push super hard, it'll stay pretty dark for you. And of course that's what I want. There we go. And we're bringing them forward. Bringing these guys forward here. We probably need one more, maybe. Kind of cuts through this one. Maybe it stops right there. Maybe. Maybe, maybe not. This is one of those videos that you guys may not see. I'm not sure about this yet. Not quite sure, but I know we need. Now we're going to need some more branches. And some things off of these trees here. It's not going to look right. There we go. Get up some paint thinner is all I'm doing when I'm going away from the canvas right now. So, alright, there we go. Making this up as we go along at this point. Sometimes it's the best paintings and sometimes it's the worst paintings. We'll see at the end what you guys think. You'll see this one. I don't know why I talk to the video. If I'm not going to show you the video, you won't know it, but you will see this painting. Like if I decide to put the video up and then take it down, you'll at least see the painting for a while. I'm going to tell you about the video. Long lost, crappy video. Well, they're all pretty crappy, but, you know, that kid. Somewhat. Just want a lot of stuff going on back here. This is still the background of the painting, so I mean, you can have tons of sticks and things going behind and in front of these trees. And honestly, the more the merrier. The more we fill up this scene, the better it's going to look. kind of regret not using a little brown on these. It might look better. So there's your tip. Van Dyke brown in here would look pretty good, I think. Put some branches over on these big ones. You can barely see the separation, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be able to see where these trees, I didn't want to be able to see too much between them. That's why I put them really close, but I left just a touch. Hope you guys can see that. I'm really hating that. That's looking muddy up there, so I may do something with that at the end. If the whole painting turns out good, I'll work on the stuff I don't like. You can work back to front, or yeah, front to back. It's not a good way to do it unless you're used to doing it. Probably not good advice either. We're just putting whatever we want, spending as much time, wasting away. Somebody needs to get some hot toddies out here or something. That went all the way up, didn't it? Alright, I think I'm done with that for a while. I think. Now, what we need to do and focus on, that we could use a little highlight on the bark, is I want to really think about how to do this foliage. Take this brush, get a little bit of our mixture of the dark on it. And let's just pop a little bit more in here. Hopefully it looks like I got the paint thinner pile. That's what I was saying don't do. That's okay. And now, right in here, I want it to be very bright. No really plan of where to go. Something like that. Something. This is the point of the painting that I'm about ready to turn this video off and throw this thing away. But I won't. Like I said, maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. Who knows? I want to incorporate a little bit of that one into this one. See how they run together? That's okay, it's not perfect. Put that one kind of coming down there. A little green undertone, that's good. That looks nice. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then we want a little bit of some stuff going on over here, but not much. Something like that. Yeah. Kind of. You want it to look kind of random even if it's not. And then I want to load this brush a little differently. We'll just kind of use the corner of it. Like that to start with. A little fainter there. And then maybe it brightens up a little bit here. I don't know. always knock it down when we need to. Let that brush run out. Paint. No medium in the brush. Let's go ahead, if we've got a fan brush laying around, and let's sketch out a couple little things here. That's a little too big there. That one's about right. Brand new one. Right out of the plastic. Alright. A little bit of white. And have a little bit of that green in it too. But a light color, not the yellow. Put the yellow in there. Somewhere back in here, there's a little bit of a water feature. I'm just going to sketch it in loosely for now. There we go. You want to stay kind of narrow back in here. Don't want to get too wide back in here. We can always corral it too. Not a huge deal. And as you go down the canvas, you're going to get wider and wider with it. I'm going to put a rock there. And some of it will maybe turn into little waterfall features, but for now, we're just laying it out really. And down in here, pretty much ends in water. Over in here, over in here, maybe we let it kind of go like that at the end. This is just a sketching of the water there. Well, it actually made it not look too bad. Not too good, but not too bad. I think the one thing that I wish I'd done was use a little brown in the trees. They're almost, trying to adjust this mic, they're almost too dark back in there. But it's okay. I'll take a little bit of that green and a good bit of the green and a tiny bit of white. Okay, because I do want some shadowy stuff back in it. We've got a little bit of mist and fog, but I want to add some of these colors in here too. That's the perfect color right there to complement that yellow and to look like that's in the shadows. Perfect, finally. That's what I was going for in the sky. Didn't work out that way, did it? There we go. Yeah. So it's more, or almost, a 10-to-1 ratio probably. 10 parts of the green to 1 part of the white. I want these, right at the base there. They're going to be mostly in shadow. A little bit of light hitting in there. That's what we wanted. Now it's starting to come together. Maybe. Let that brush run out occasionally. Don't just sock all the same value of paint up in here. I have struggled with that myself. So, I'm warning you guys. Do not do that. We could even, well, probably won't show up there, but we could go right back in here and put a few, and those will show up back in there. Let's reload. Yeah. And then we can put a little bit of yellow back in front of them. Yeah. This is what I wanted here. Yeah, and I'm going to use this color as kind of just since there's no, we've got pretty much a dry canvas. There's just a little bit of paint. Since it's pretty dry, I'm going to use this just to kind of sketch the land in so I can see it a little bit better. See how a little bit of paint I'm putting on there, just barely touching. And then some of these will be incorporated into the shadows, some of it won't. Alright, we will use some brown here for some rocks here in a minute. This is all land, it can't, you can't have to have water running in there. Yeah. I want to try something real quick. We're There's some of these dark trees. Got a little bit of this fall. Yep. I'm making sure it doesn't get too light on us again. But yeah, I think this will bring these into the painting a little bit better. Just a little bit here and there. Yeah. You don't want to overdo it because it could get muddy mess here. I'm afraid I'm going to get there. There's just like a little bit up in there. That's still the area we're going to work on at the end, I bet you. And I can't see over here, but a little bit of this shadow color, we may throw that in at the end. And let's go back to our highlight brush. We're working with the yellow again. Don't worry if that yellow turns a little bit green. We're using green. And I'm gonna use this brush. I'm not gonna reload this up. There's a little bit hitting there, a little bit there. I almost went back. This is a cheap brush. You can see the hairs everywhere. Cheap but effective, really. Right? Super effective. A little bit right in there, maybe. A little bit right back in there. What we need, I do need to get a little yellow right here would be a nice bright spot for a bright piece of yellow. Bushes. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Now don't reload. Don't reload yet. Just kind of think about. They're not all bushes. Some of this is just land. Quite steep land, isn't it? Yeah, we should have been a bush. We do need that to come into the painting. Bringing our eye in. All right. I'm going to need a little brown out. After all, I'm going to use some brown. Where is paint? Just use Van Dyke. That's what I'm going to use. I left this tube open. It's about dried up. Like for weeks. I found the cat finally. And luckily the dogs didn't eat it. I've got one of the dogs when we leave anymore. I shut my studio room here in the house. Because if I throw something away like an old paint tube or something, there's a dog that has been known to get one out, chew it up, and ruin a rug that we have. I'm not going to name names, Henry. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Alright, let's brush out. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. It may be too soft of a brush, but I want to try and use that dagger brush. Have a rock right here. Yep, I kind of like it. Just kind of another one right in front of that one. It's a cool brush to use for sculpting things like rocks. And then we probably should find the fan brush and run just a peak very light over here, just so we can see our rock, because we're going to cover up most of this. I don't want the water that wide, really, but I can't see what I'm doing over there. Probably right in there too. If I get the water too bright, I can fix that easily. There we go. All right. I know somewhere in here that it will be a big rock. Yeah, you could use the filbert for this too, and I may switch back and forth. I could use a fan brush. I don't want to use a knife for rocks today. I'm not going to highlight them with a knife, so I don't want to tease the knife that's going to get some action. I may not even use the knife today. Oh, we'll have some kind of rock over here. Don't let them all be the same shape. kind of working. Good bit of rocks will look good in this one. Put a rock right at the edge of this here. Maybe there's, well, this is going to look odd until we do something with them. You're right in here. Bit of rocks under that land. There's one right there. I think I'm going to switch to the filbert. Put a smaller one back in here. Wipe the black off her brush. Yeah, I like the filbert. I like that little dagger brush, but I don't need to use it tonight. And you can just lay some, I mean, like a lot of brown over here. I want a little bit of that water showing. Not really worried about. See, I still see a little bit of that water. That's what we want. Maybe. Again, this is too much water, but let's just put a little light in here and we'll kind of put rocks around it. I'm sorry, we'll put rocks in it. Get rid of that now. Okay. So that's way too much bright water. But if we want to add some big rocks here, we need to add, man, look at this one, it's getting bigger. What in the world? There. Get shade better. And maybe. There's a big rock right there. And then maybe some smaller ones. Kind of just have fun with it. I'm having fun with this painting. I know it's going to be a long one, but and I don't think it's great. But it's not the worst thing I've ever seen either. Yet. Still time to mess it up. And there's one right here. Pretty flat. Or pretty round. Pretty wide and pretty round on the top. You don't want them to all look like big humps in the water. And we can change it, the shape, quite a bit by just using the when we do the highlights. Hey, there's a little one right there. I don't know, right there. There's something in the water. I don't mind these. I want a little bit of brown back in there that I can put some highlight on. There we go. There we go. We'll run out of water. What the heck happened here? They're gonna be like, hey, it's supposed to have water in it. Got a lot of brown. A little bit more right there. One more. One more and then I'll stop, I promise. And then he does one more. After the one more. Yeah. Alright. So I got my rocks laid in. That makes the painting look a little better to me. What are we doing on time? 53 minutes. Goodness, guys. I'm glad I didn't use an 18 by 24. By the way, that's a 16 by 20. I didn't tell you what size I was using. This is the problem I have. Never painted this one before. If I haven't painted something, I can't paint it fast. And I'm not really worried about painting it fast. But I do worry people get bored of watching, you know, after a while. If you're too dang slow. And we'll put a little bit more in here. I want to focus on the rocks. And we kind of just put the dark in there with one brush, but I'm going to use a different one to kind of highlight. Let me grab it. Okay. I'm back. Grab our mic back on. Use the mic since everybody says it's much nicer. I'm grabbing an old flat. Kevin Hill. I'm going to try that. I may go back to the filbert. I just want to try it at first to kind of do a little bit of highlighting with. And we're going to start, as crazy as it sounds, a little bit of that yellow on the brush. And this one, we'll start with this one. Just kinda... Now, this is not exactly, I may have too much paint to use this. Yeah, I do. So we'll go back to our filbert. Thought I could make that work. Clean a couple of these brushes and then we'll highlight them. We'll call that a failure, but an attempt. Sometimes it's better to fail having attempted than to just never try. Then we'll try another one. Another brush I've never used for rocks. Oh, this brush is falling apart. I think it's falling apart. I know folks like Chuck Black and others use an old dagger brush for, oh goodness, probably most of the painting. And it works splendidly. I also know Chuck uses a lot of, there, I'm just kind of tapping it on there. It looks a little triangular. But we're just going to place this color on here. Then we'll put a little bit of shadow back in, or a little bit of light color to make it not look so, yeah, I kind of like that texture. Could use a fan brush for this too. I've done that before. I'm really focusing on this first one to get this down. I may speed this part of the video up. So I would do that, and then we'll put a little bit of something behind it. Alright, maybe let's, I don't know why I'm doing this one next. That's the one it felt like I should do. Just a little faint. Highlight on some of them. Reload. Just a little bit of color on a few of them over here. I may need to put a touch of brown in that color actually. There, yep. Way it looks a little more rockish instead of those highlights. We don't want it to look like I'm highlighting bushes in the water, which it kind of does in my opinion. Just going to tap a little bit of that color on a few pieces of these rocks. I think that's a rock. I think. In the water. Now we've got to put water lines all around the rocks and things of that nature. So I want to actually bring this one around it a little bit. Maybe. There we go. Just kind of tap it like that, and then tap the highlight down into the end of the rock. It'll look like it's setting in there a little bit better. But that's intentional. Another little piece of that rock that kind of sticks out there. Gets a little highlight. There we go. One thing I forgot to do, and nobody's here to tell me these things, I forget. I don't know that you'll see it, but I better, just in case. I think for right now it won't matter. But we'll just kind of pull a little bit of that dark down into the water. Lightly go across it here. I really don't know that it matters on these little scenes like this. Where'd our brush go? There it is. A little bit of this. So we worked on that one the longest. Let's just try to go over here, and you might see my head get into the frame here. Oh, noggin. Very faint. I've got an idea for the shadow side. We'll use a little bit of that blue color. And I think that would look quite nice. And one thing I've got going on, if you're not using any medium, the brushes will work much nicer. But where I cleaned this one, and it's synthetic, with paint thinner, it's kind of picking up. It's a little muddy on here. Where do you think these rocks lay? Just kind of lay that highlight right on them. I mean, feel free to do these with the knife too. It's your painting when you do it. Don't listen to me. I don't know what the heck I'm doing sometimes. Really getting back to doing these videos. I appreciate you guys. People have been asking me when I'm going to do more, and what it does is makes me paint. And paint different things. This would be something I wouldn't paint. Well, it's something I wouldn't try with and talking through it. I can tell you that much. That's all of you guys asking me to do these. Now, this one may be a 2-hour special. Jeez Louise, Bram. I'm on. Taking forever. Not too many rocks, but now I know why Kevin Hill speeds his videos up. Because he's doing even more detailed stuff. Yeah. I want it to look like there's a bunch of rocks over there. Go take time to put them in with a little brush. But I think it pays off bigly. Big dividends. Once we get them all in here and get them a little bit of shadow going on. Yeah, I can bring that out a little bit more on that one. Yeah, a little bit on that one. Yeah, I could have done a little trick where you thin down your paint, put a color on, but I didn't want to do that. I don't like those little rocks that Bob would do on a show. They look like little, what's the little Star Trek thing? Tribbles? Tribbles, whatever it is. They look like those little furry things to me. But to each their own, I guess. Who am I to criticize anyone? These may look like I threw up in the water. I don't know. A little bit here. Yeah. Wish I hadn't put that one. Yeah, a little bit right there. Try to go a little quicker. I remember one of the episodes that Bob Ross did on the TV show, and he actually used the fan brush. I cannot think of the name of the episode. And it turned out so nice. And then he took the big brush and went over them, smoothed them out, and it just looked so much nicer than like using the filbert and doing the little crazy looking rocks. I guess sometimes I don't mind those little rocks, but sometimes they just look weird to me. I'm trying to go a little faster here and they're not looking great. It's a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks. There's a lot of something that looks maybe sort of close to a rock. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. I can post this in some of these Facebook groups that know if I should put the video on. I did that with one last night and everybody loved it, so now you get to see the other part of it. you see the video. Alright, now I'm going to pick up a little bit of that blue. And I have a little bit of that yellow on my brush too. Oop, I didn't mean that. I got the paint thinner gone. Crap. Sorry. Trying to... Is that black? Ew. Well, shoot. I thought I was picking up phthalo green and I picked up the black. Now that ain't gonna work. I gotta clean that brush. Can I hurry up, Bram? I gotta go to bed. Sure, we're still recording. Let's see if I can find some of that color now. There we go. Put that in there. There we go. Let's see if this will look even right. Just get behind here and kind of brush a little bit of shadow in there. I have to get all green out. Mainly just kind of brushing a little bit of that color the opposite direction. And then we might be able to get away with just doing it that way, which would be cool. I may throw a couple with the knife. I don't know. Let's leave them there for right now. A little bit on that side. Ooh, there we go. Kind of shapey. Ooh, there we go. Big old rock, huh? Goodness. Oh, these got pretty big. There we go. Let's leave her there. I think I will use the knife. I said I wasn't even going to use it. No, I already lied to you. I'm not going to use it for the rock. I'm going to use it for the water. I'll start with the little edge. I want it to look like we've got a little bit of a ripple back in there. Pretty much like doing a little water on it. There. Yeah, I like that. Kind of popping. You can run it over into there, and over here. And you can easily do... Let's get rid of that rock. I didn't like that one. I may throw another one. I did not like that one. I'm just... Ooh, sorry if that's... reflection was getting in my eye. I hope it's not getting in yours. If you hear somebody snoring, it's the dog. It's River. He's in here with Dad. Over in here, around our rocks, we want to look like it's running. If you need to sneak a little area, a little bit of water back in there maybe, a little bit running there. Use the little edge of the rock of the knife. Let's just keep it going here. I don't know that I'm going to have any falling water, like a waterfall. I think we can just get away with doing it this way. I was thinking maybe I could do one with the knife. Advisable. I may go back with the brush and throw a couple in. I see a couple of spots we could sneak in there and do that. I am a knife fanatic. I love using the knife for water. You'd think I'd want to use it for rocks. And usually I would. I want it a little bit different though. I want it to look like there's water running over there. Oh, there we go. And the rocks are kind of coming together a little bit now. Put that water around them. We know they're rocks, I think, for the most part, right? We can trim them off. We can take some of that paint and just get rid of a little bit of it if you don't like them. Excuse me. A little bit running over here, a little bit in front of this one. Bring it up right in there. Save some of that dark. I may even have to put a little bit back in. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. A little bit will come over here. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. The water's bringing the painting together at least. I'll touch up a few things on the top part that I don't like. And then I've got that rock down here. Look at that big old water. And that's where we put our waterfall. And we can cut that rock off a little bit if we don't like the shape of it. See that? Put a little bit of that yellow in the water, it won't hurt. Well, if I don't like all the back part of it, just get in there and scrub it back into the canvas a little bit. Sets that into the water even better doing it that way. You're not committed to really anything. I mean, what's the worst that we can do on these things? Start over, you know? Start over and then all you're doing is practicing and you're going to get really good. I've often wondered what really good is. I'm not saying that jokingly. I'm like trying to figure out what is really good. Art is all it's subjective and objective. I don't really know how to gauge my own stuff at times. Somebody says something's really good, and I don't think it's very good. Do I take their word for it? Or do I take my own? You know, it's one of those things. Really hard to figure out. The only thing here that you've got to be careful of is making sure that all that water's kind of flowing side to side. And if you get any too harsh lines with the knife, you can rub them, take a clean knife and just rub them in there. Or you can take a brush and kind of knock them down. Like if we think we got too much. And one thing I can already tell you I might do, I have to get some color out. Where is my viridian? I want to put black in the water. I'll kind of show you what we can do here. Now, let's see the time. What are we at here on time? Probably 2 hours. Well, we'll probably be done in an hour and 30 on this one. It's not too bad for the first time creating it. Again, these videos are not meant to be like TV show quality. They're just me painting, you guys watching, getting ideas. We see an area we got too light, we can go back with some of the dark. Okay, that's what I'm doing there. Just gonna knock it back down a little bit. Alright. What else do we need, really? What else do we need? Look in here. I could try it. Let's see here. A little bit of paint on here. A little bit of paint on the brush. Yeah. I mean, I really just don't want to do a waterfall. Do I have to? What if I had one that could go right there just a little bit? A spill over. Maybe there's a rocky ledge there. This splash. I think doing this would be more effective. Putting some nice little splashes around these rocks. Taking this brush here. There we go. Get running up in there. There we go. One thing I gotta fix here. This is the bar in the canvas. You ever get that? Put something on the bar and barely touch it like this paint right here. Okay. And then you won't really notice it too much. The water a little too bright. We can fix that though. That's an odd spot. Actually, I don't mind the rocks, which is very odd. One thing you could do to those rocks, just looking at them, is we took a little bit of white and a little bit of that yellow that we've been using. Clean the brush off. Clean the brush. Get back pretty clean. Pretty dry too. A little bit of the yellow and some white. Yeah, there we go. I don't want it to be too super bright, but we could tap a little extra highlight on a few of them. See how that makes it pop a little better? I'm just tapping this. And then maybe just grab a little bit of it and pull it back. Not much, don't pull much. Smears it. This is kind of highlighting the highlight. Yeah, it actually looks pretty cool. Making that rock stand out for sure. There's a, so we can almost use the first yellow as the shadow. And then we can go back with this brighter color and bring the rocks out a bit more. We might have to touch up the water. That's okay. A little extra work won't hurt us. We're in this far. Let's just keep going. Oh, that one doesn't really look like a rock. There we go. That's making a huge difference here. I don't know if it will look like that on the camera. Again, that one doesn't look very rocky either. I'll put some water up in there running in that one. It looks like stacked stone. Just here and there, don't go overboard on this like I am. There and there will be another little bit of a highlight on that rock. And watch your lighting. So these rocks, as the light's right there, these rocks are getting on this side, these are getting on this side. That's probably something I should have mentioned earlier. But if you're watching me, you're probably seeing what I'm doing. There we go. There. I don't care if they smear a little bit sometimes. It even looks good. What you don't want to do is have sharp edges at just end. So kind of knock some of those back in. Make this one a little brighter right in there. There. Stands out a little bit more. Starting to get a little green on me too. Just a few more of these. This one could use it for sure. A little bit there. And we could just go straight yellow, so it's not so bright. It's kind of what I used before, but since there's a little bit of white on my brush, it probably will work a little better. Like that. And just a touch on this one. Just kind of tapping. Tap, tap, tap. I gotta practice my rocks with the, and I've done them. I've done a few of Kevin Hill's videos with the flat brush. I could see that doing really well for rocks. I just haven't done them in a while. I didn't like how they were starting out, so we switched to this dagger brush. Dagger, fan, filbert, whatever you've got, use that. Just push it a little bit on there. There we go. Maybe there. I was really wanting to use this to put all these in, but I think the filbert just look nicer. So. Another little thing I'm seeing is I can take this color without reloading the brush and just, again, just pulling back on that occasionally. Makes the rocks have those angles that we're looking for. Coming back this way with them. I need a little, if I've got a rock there, I need a little highlight, don't I? Right in there. I see a little spot I could run a little water through. Just cut that. Yeah. Well, this looks odd without something. We better just kind of put something on that piece of land or something. It'll look weird if the water starts running back in there into the abyss. Well, I'm sorry for the long video. I had no clue how long this one would take to paint. I'm still not sure about it. The look of it, not the time. It took a long time. All right, let's see what we think. I'm gonna step back and look at it. Goodness, I don't know. Really don't know. A couple things I don't like, I'm going to change, and you guys can watch me do it, or you can say, boy, that was good, and then go away. Come back another time. I'm going to bring this one on down a little bit. Right there. I'll have to really strengthen that up a little bit. Because it's got a lot of wet paint behind it, so. Like I said, this would be where brown and that would work. Guess what? I got some brown now. Pretty much done with it. And this one. I didn't want this one to be so back there in the back. Let's just bring it down to right there. Got two sentinels here. I don't know if that's good or not. Let's bring that one down a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little better to me. You know, when I highlight those trunks. Yeah. Yeah, let's see if I can chisel this filbert. I got an idea here. I want to get rid of some of that nasty stuff there that I put. There we go. Actually may end that tree right there. And a little bit of this. There we go. Put our bush there. There we go. Put that back in. And over here, just kind of hit that one right there. There we go. The color's not right, but maybe you guys won't notice. Don't get on to me. You're nice people. I don't think a lot of mean people watch my videos. I don't think. There we go. Just try to bring some of those trees down for a little bit more depth in the painting. I think the only thing that's really thrown me off is I went a little crazy with the knife in the water, and I wish I hadn't have. Get a little brown, a little white. There we go. Put a little brown and white together. And maybe if I just put a little bit of a highlight on some of these trees, it will change. change it a little bit. If I get a little closer, I can reach it. So that's spandex brown and white. Let's do this one first. Easier for me to reach it. Let's tap a little bit on there. I don't need much. Just a little bit. Here and there, here and there, and there and here. Just we're having a shaky hand right now, it's not helping. There, just a little bit. And I'll need a little bit of shadow on one side. Gonna look odd if I don't. Now, you see this tree cannot sit like this, can it? You guys see it. I am going to have to do something I don't want to do. We're going to do it anyway. For some reason I had a little Payne's gray out too. I'll use that. Want that to be a little bit darker back in there. Yep, that's what it needed. A little bit of texture on these will look nice. All right. Yeah. And then over there on that one too. A little bit of dark, especially down at the base. Back behind it. Look good. Something like that.